Hey guys, today we have a new project, drag and drop component builder. It's a very simple project. We have these components and we have this drop zone. We can drag and drop into this drop zone and it will add all these components. And we have the reset button and it will clear the drop zone. Now the main goal of this project is to understand how drag and drop works. So before we start writing the code, let's understand few things about this project and drag and drop. So this project, it's a drag and drop component builder. We have 3 UI elements: draggable components, drop zone and reset button. So you see these all are the draggable components. This is the drop zone and this is the reset builder. We call this drop zone because we can drop these components into it, so it is called drop zone, and these are the draggable components. We can drag them and it is very simple. Tech stack, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, no library. And the functionality we have here, like user can drag and drop components into the drop zone will add these components and the reset button will clear it. And you will learn how drag and drop works and you will create this project from scratch. Now there are few more things about drag and drop. So when we create a drag and drop page builder or anything like the drag and drop, there are two important things. We will have draggable components and we will have a drop zone. Now I will show you how we create the draggable components, but there are few events that we need to understand for draggable components and for drop zone. So for the draggable components, we have two events, dragstart and dragend. This event will be fired by the browser when we start dragging the component, and this when we stop dragging the component. So these two are for draggable components, and we have 4 events for drop zone. So we have this area, this we call the drop zone. So we have 4 event listeners: dragenter, dragover, dragleave and drop. So when we drag a component and enters into this area, the dragenter will be fired, and when we on it, it is a drag over, and if we leave it, it is a dragleave event, and if we drop the component, that is a the drop event listener. So these 4 we will add for this drop zone. These are the 4 event listeners. Now let's just start with the project. We will have a basic setup and then we start writing the main functionality in the JavaScript. And this is the project I have opened. It has no functionality in it. We will add the functionality. So this is the setup of this project. I have created 3 files: HTML, JavaScript file and a CSS file. HTML file, it is very basic HTML. You can go and check. And this is the CSS. And in JavaScript file, I just added a object, but this is just a object which contains HTML for different type of key, and the key are the button, image, text, form or card. So this is just HTML, not a JavaScript code. We will write JavaScript code from scratch. So now let's start writing the JS. We will select these 3: the components and drop zone and this reset button. So let's start with drag components. You will select all the components that we want to drag. Then we have drop zone. And we have reset button. Now I will write few lines of code and then I will explain. So first I will start with drag components, and for each component I will add event listener. So the component will have event listener drag start, and this is its callback. And here we will set a value that we will read when we drop this component. And we have one more event listener for it. This is for draggable components. I will write a few event listener for drop zone. I will add this class here, drop zone hover. We have total 4 for drop zone. So first is drag enter, second is drag over, and next is drag leave, and the last is drop. When we drop the component, we will read the value. I will explain each line of code. I'm just writing so we can so you can understand it clearly. Inner HTML, it's empty. Okay. Now let's just test this, and I will explain to you each line of code. So I will drag and drop in here, this one. You can see like we are dropping the component, but it is not adding the component, but you can see in the console that we are getting the component type. Now let's start from the first, from here. So here I added drag components, and for each of component I added drag start and drag end event listener. In the drag start, this event will be fired when we start dragging the component. So when it start firing, I have added the class list of dragging, and then here this is the important part. I have set a value this one, data hyphen component type. Now this type, you can see the each component has this attribute, data component type, and this is important for us to read when we drop the component, and then we will add that component into the drop zone. So this is the property we are setting here. And the next event listener for component is dragend. So when we drop the component, it means the dragging has ended. So we will remove this class. Now if you want to see the class, I will just inspect it. You will see that class will be added here. So I start dragging, you see the dragging class is added. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Just keep your eye on this one. You will see the dragging is added, and if I just drop it, it means drag start has ended. So drag end will be fired and class will be removed. So if I drop it, you see the class is gone. So these two events are fired for this component, drag start and drag end. And then we have drop zone events. This is when we enter the drop zone. This is when we are over the drop zone, and this when we leave the drop zone, and this is when we drop it. So what we are doing in here, when we enter into the drop zone, we are adding this class. So when we are inside it, you see this drop zone gets a very orange color border because we have added this class, and when we drop it or when we leave it, this class will be removed. So let me refresh it. So when we enter it, we added the class. When we leave it, okay, I think the leave event, okay, I think, yeah, it's a typo. We'll add a dragleave. So we enter it, we add the class. When we leave it, we remove the class, and when we drop the component, we remove the class again. So here when we enter it, we add a class. When we leave it, we remove the class. So like this is just for the visual effect that yes, we are entering the drop zone and then we are leaving it or we are dropping it. So this is for a better visual, the better visuals. Okay. And this one, this is very important, and I will explain why this is important when we add the component into the drop zone. Then I will explain why this is important. And in the drop, we have removed this class again because we have dropped, so we don't no longer need this border around the drop zone. And then we have this thing in here. So when we refresh it, we see this drag components here. This is a placeholder. We want to remove it when we drop a first component. So what we are doing here is when we drop it, we go and select this div with this style, and we set the drop zone to a empty. So if I drag and drop here, you see it is gone. So this is for removing the placeholder. And then next we are reading the value. So if we go above, you see here we set a value, data component type, and in here we are just reading that data. When we call this function, it will return this value to us. So we are reading it, and we are console log in here. So if I open the console log tab, if I drag and drop, you will see this was a button type. If I drop this one, this is a text type, this is a form, this is a card, this is an image. So we are reading this value back in the drop event listener. Now the next part is adding that component inside this drop zone. So if I go all the way up, you see this code in here. We have this object and we have defined some keys. Now these keys are same as we have defined the component type, the button, image, text, form and card. So what we will do, we will read this component type in here, and if we find it, we will get this HTML, and then we will add that HTML into it, and that will add a component into this drop zone. So let's go in here. We will say first let's get the UI for the component. To get it, we will have the component UI templates, and we will read the based on the component type. So we have this one, and then let's add the check, like if we have a component UI, then we want to add this component UI into the drop zone. So first we will create a temporary div, and inside it we will set its inner HTML. The value is component UI because that's what we want to add into the drop zone. And then we select the drop zone and we append a child to it, and that will be component, that is the temporary div dot first child. Now let's see if it is working or not. So we drag this button, drop it here. See, it has added this component in the drop zone. When we drop the second one, the third one, fourth one, now it will keep adding. Now how many times we drop, it will find this component in this object and it will add into the drop zone. So this is working fine. Now there is a one little problem and we will fix it. So if I drag and drop in here, see if I drop this image again and drop it here, this is we are handling. So if we don't add this if condition, you will see there is a problem. So we handle it already. So if drag and drop in here, you see we are getting this undefined appended to this drop zone. We don't want that. So we added this check that if we find the UI, only then append the child to the drop zone. So this will handle. So if you miss it, remember that you will get this undefined. To fix it, you just add a small check and it will just work. Now there is one more thing that I told you earlier, that this one event default, if I remove it, see what happens. Drag and drop, see we cannot add the component. Why is that? Because this drag over keep firing and it don't allow us to add the component. We need to stop its default functionality. So we add this one, prevent default, and then we will have this option to add components into the drop zone area. So I think this is working. So drop zone is working just fine. Now let's add a event listener for this reset builder button. So it will clear this drop zone area. So if we go in here, we say reset button, we will add an event listener, and if we click on it, we want to like remove the inner HTML of the drop zone, but we will set it back to the original placeholder. So when we first time load this one, you see this one, we want to add this in here. So we can just go in here, and where is it? Yeah, this one. So we can just copy it, or if you want we can write it from one by one, but I will just copy it here. Okay, we need to set it in just one line because it's not a template string, it's a single quote. So single quote does not allow to add multi-line. So we need to put it in just one line. To make it small, bigger. Okay, I think yeah, we are good. So let's see if it is working. We drop the components, we click on this one, and it reset this component and back to the initial state and add the placeholder. So let's see if we have missed something. So we have added event listener for all the components, then for event listener for drop zone, and here we added the, like we first read the component type, then we get the component UI, and then we add that component UI into the drop zone, and this is the reset button. So this is it. This is how the drag and drop works, and we created this small project. I hope you liked it. If you want to see some more projects like this, like and subscribe and share this video, and you can come back and see more interesting projects in upcoming days.